I'm not sure who's best placed initially to kind of address this, but it'd be good for our readers to kind of get a general idea of the pressures that the hospital faces at the moment. So if one of you could kind of address that, kind of set the scene really for heading into the new year, what are the demands on the service currently?
Okay, well I'll probably start and then Greg might actually add some more detail to it. So it's January and we always expect January to be a very busy period for us operationally. But I think this year we're probably seeing some unprecedented challenges, and this year is probably as busy and probably slightly busier than any we've ever experienced before. The patients that are coming to our ED department are very poorly. We've seen the campaign we've run on #MIU it seems to have had quite a large impact with the public, so quite a lot of people with minor injuries, minor illnesses have actually gone to the minor injury units, which is fantastic. They're great facilities and the staff there are amazing. So that seems to have made some impact. So the patients we are seeing are very poorly, and a large number of them are needing to be admitted. We've seen a huge number of respiratory problems this year, a lot of D&V in the community as well. So I guess one of the messages we'd like to make as well is, if you've been invited to get a flu vaccination, if there's still time to take up that opportunity, we would recommend, whether you're a member of staff or a member of the public, to take advantage of that opportunity, because it really does help protect you as individuals, but also those around you. The other thing I think I'd like to say is, with all the urgent pressures we've had on the hospital, it has meant that we've had to make some fairly tough decisions. So we have had to cancel some routine appointments in the hospital. And I guess I just wanted to assure people that that's not decisions we take lightly. We put a lot of thought into it, and we apologise for any distress and that causes, and we will try and get people rebooked as soon as we possibly can. So I think there's some of the key messages at the moment. I don't know, Greg, if you wanted to add.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I think from our clinical staff's point of view, because we've seen more patients come in to the hospital with really acute illness, so we've had to stretch our bed base to put more beds within the hospital. So clearly that means then we have to stretch our nursing, our medical, our therapy resource across the hospital. We do ensure that all of our wards and departments are kept safe in terms of nursing and medical numbers, and we check that throughout the day through the operational room. Our staff have been incredible. I would really like that message to get across, because it's been really tricky this winter, and without the efforts, the commitment and the compassion from our staff, both clinical and non-clinical here, and everybody's really collaborated together to do the best thing for patients. And as Nick's described, regrettably we've had to cancel some elective operations, and those decisions aren't taken lightly, and our chief of surgery is involved in those discussions to make sure we have the clinically priority patients going to surgery first. I think, as Nick's just described also, our local population are making right choices with regards to access and healthcare. So whilst we've still seen lots of sick patients coming into the emergency department, the population of Plymouth are choosing our minor injuries unit, pharmacies, to seek advice, not critical advice, but advice with regards to their minor illnesses. And that has been incredibly helpful for us at Hereford, and I'd really like to thank your readers for that.
Clearly, I mean, obviously one of the things that we've spotted is the fact that there's been a kind of a shout out to extra staff to work on weekends in order to cover the increase of beds that have had to be put on, escalation beds, am I right in saying?
Yes.
What is being done to ensure that the well-being of staff is being kept in check? And clearly, and that's firstly one question, but secondly also, how is that stretching resources? Will you guys be kind of looking to the government and saying, actually, you need to kind of put some more money into this to actually help us through this difficult period at the moment?
Shall I start? So certainly we have received some additional funding this year for winter pressures. So that is money that we will use to staff the additional capacity and make sure that we can cope with running in a state of escalation that we are running at. So there has been some money provided nationally to support providers in that.
In terms of supporting staff out on the wards, so we have many different interventions. We encourage our staff to take breaks, and our senior nurses, so our matrons and our heads of nursing, will go onto the wards and relieve staff so they can go to breaks. We provided some refreshments which went down incredibly well with our nursing staff. I went around the wards over the last week, and without exception the staff are really grateful for the delivery of refreshments to their staff rooms to support that. Equally, we have senior nursing presence 24 hours a day here, so if staff are concerned around their own health or well-being or any particular issues with safety to patients, we have an acute care team who are very senior nurses that will go onto the wards to support staff.
I think I'd like to add to that as well, that we do have some amazing staff in this hospital. A certain type of people join the NHS because they want to make a difference, and we know they are going over and above what could be reasonably expected, and they do such a fantastic job, and we must try and get back to a state of normality as soon as we possibly can. But we are so appreciative of the extra effort that they're putting in at the moment.
Obviously, you're saying that the government have kind of given a bit of extra money into this, but will it see you guys through this period, or actually does there need to be more of a long-term plan to ensure that everyone's able to cope with what's happening at the moment?
Well, I think we're very grateful for the additional money. It certainly helps, and it's certainly helping at the moment. How long these operational pressures continue for will obviously largely decide on whether it's sufficient or not. I mean, we're hoping that by February, March time we will be back to running the hospital in a de-escalated state, so we're hoping that money will be sufficient, but it's quite hard to tell at the moment.
And in addition to that, we have this week started to de-escalate the hospital, so we do have less escalation beds open today compared with the beginning of the week. So what we're doing currently is ensure we have some really good, strong, robust weekend processes, sufficient staff, both clinical and non-clinical, to ensure the safety of our patients over the weekend. So that's the meeting that I've just been at now. I think it's important to recognise as well that we were rated outstanding for care with the Quality Commission both in 2015 and 2016, which we're still incredibly proud of.
I think there's something else that your question naturally leads into as well, and I guess it's the thing that's talked about nationally, is with a population that's getting older, with greater demands on the NHS more generally, it is something that probably sits above politics. It is something as a country we need to think hard about. As we look ahead, those pressures will probably continue to increase, and how we rise to that challenge is going to be really important.
And do you think that's an interesting point? Do you think that the additional demand at the moment, is it more primarily an older population, or is it you touched on people with respiratory problems? Is there any kind of specific area we can go, yeah, that's actually the reason for this spike in demand? Or
what's really interesting is, I think, if you go around the hospital, probably every other person you meet has got this virus that's going about, and it's a sort of flu-like type virus. And I think as you get older, it's hitting people harder. So, whether there's a direct link between that, but we're certainly seeing a lot of very elderly, very poorly individuals struck down with this sort of flu-like virus.
It does feel different this year. We definitely have more older people coming into the A&E department with respiratory illness, so quite severe coughs, pneumonia, etc. And it is largely the older population. There's
obviously quite a lot of mainly tabloid speculation about Aussie flu. Is any of that kind of connected at all? You're saying about this kind of flu-like virus that's going around? any connection with that, or is it just general kind of illness that seems to be hitting people harder?
We think, and again, Greg will add to this, but we think we've missed the worst of the Australian flu as yet, and what we're seeing is a different strain. It gets there is quite a lot of differing opinion as to what exactly we're experiencing, but
I think so. You know, the two main flu types of flu A and flu B, and we're seeing both of those this year coming in from the community. So we're working quite hard as a system, as Nick's described earlier, to encourage our population of Plymouth to access the flu vaccination, and equally our own staff here to protect patients, for our staff to be vaccinated. And we've had lots of programs in place over the last month really to ensure that there is a good uptake with the flu vaccination here.
And just to remind me again, where is it that people need to go? You said there's still time.
They can go to their GP, their pharmacists. Some local supermarkets are providing flu injections, and lots of this information can be found on the 111 website.
Just check if there's anything else I've missed.
That's right.
You touched on the point about this is actually something that sits above politics. Again, it's interesting that there's a lot of noise in the press and within Parliament about privatisation of the NHS. Is that something really that the people of kind of Plymouth have to worry about particularly at the moment? Or is it a case of long term? Actually, the important thing is here and now is about people kind of keeping healthy and making sure that they're not putting undue pressure on A&E, etc.
I think from my perspective it's the latter. It's definitely ensuring that our population of Plymouth seek the support where the support is available in terms of the pharmacies, the MIUs, etc. Health and well-being, keep healthy, keep fit, keep active. That would be a clear message that we'd like to send out.
And kind of to wrap up, what would be your kind of like overall, you're saying to people get your flu vaccination, and actually thank you for bearing with us. What do you think is the overriding message to people now as you're kind of going through this period? And obviously it's encouraging to hear that actually you're de-escalating the situation. What would you say to people now who are still a bit nervous?
I think from my perspective it's to continue to use the alternative MIUs and pharmacies, etc. within the community when they do have minor illnesses. We put a lot of communication out across Plymouth for this winter, and your readers have been fantastic in ensuring that they're accessing different services. So from my perspective, that would be one clear message, is to continue to use the other services available. Unless you're acutely ill, then clearly you need our emergency department for that.
And I'd add one other message to that, which is we are not closed, we are very much open. So please, if we need to cancel or rearrange your appointment, we will contact you. If you haven't heard from us, turn up for your appointment, we're open.
Okay, I'd really like to thank the local population for being really supportive of the hospital whilst we're in some challenging times. It is really helpful for us for you to access healthcare services across the city, such as the minor injury unit, pharmacies or GP surgeries for minor illnesses, but clearly if you are acutely unwell, then we are open as an emergency hospital. I'd equally like to thank patients out there that regrettably have had their routine operations cancelled to ensure that we have enough beds in the hospital to accept our emergency patients, and I'm really sorry that we've had to cancel your operations, but hopefully we'll be back on track towards the end of this month. And a message from us: if you haven't heard of any operation or outpatient procedure being cancelled, then please do come in because you will likely go ahead for your procedure. So thank you very much.
And finally, I'd really like to thank our staff for the incredible effort that everybody's putting in at the moment. We absolutely appreciate just how busy the hospital is and how much pressure everyone's working under. It's great that people are working hard, and we're very grateful for that. But obviously people do need to look out for themselves and to look out for other members of the team as well. And obviously to take every opportunity you can, to take some downtime when you can, because we absolutely need you to be fit and well to give the great services that you give to our patients every single day. So thank you very much on behalf of the executive team and the whole board.